Hello, everyone. It's Cecilia Inez from Celestine Healing Arts. I'm trying to decide. I want to maybe change it to Celestine Expressive Healing Arts because that's what it's all about, right? Expressing our life force, expressing our true essence. And in that note, I'm here to offer you this is a February energy update, energy reading, but I'm also going to include, since I'm posting this a little earlier before we transition into the next month, and I can't believe we're already like January is already almost over, but this is also gonna bring in like the end tail of January because we have some really major transits happening astrologically. One that I want to mention is that's happening at the end of the month is Neptune is going to be entering, changing signs. It's going to be entering Aries. And so that's going to be a big deal because it's going to be in Aries until 2039. So yeah, we're going to be working with that theme for a very long time. And it has to do with like spirituality, illusions, dreams, very like more of the unseen, elements of life, of the human experience. Definitely the more of the spiritual, more of the esoteric. Maybe it's also tied into, more about our beliefs and our perceptions, how we make meaning, right? What is meaningful to us and what fills our life with meaning, because I think that's very important. So that's going to be changing for us, energetically, because it's that planet is switching signs. So something around that, but then it's a generational shift. So it's a collective thing too, right? It's going to impact us personally, but it's also going to shift things collectively, right? So when it has to do with collective values and ideals, and as we've been seeing, a lot of things are changing. And then we're also going into Aquarius season, which kind of governs technology, and it's very future forward. And so, I mean, we're seeing it with a lot of what's happening now with AI, and that whole arena, when it comes to technology and advancements and stuff like that. So a lot of innovative stuff happening, all with its own repercussions and ramifications, So a lot of things to consider. Then we have Saturn's also going to be entering Aries later in February on the 13th. And Saturn's all about discipline and structure and responsibility. So I feel like we're building this foundation. We're trying to build this foundation. I think with the Mountain card too, I was like looking at that, trying to figure it out. Maybe changing our routines, changing our habits, our mindset, or just a lot of different things, doing a lot of planning, organizing, but definitely so that we can have a stronger foundation moving forward. So I think Saturn entering Aries is definitely going to help us with that. Uranus is going to be going direct in Taurus on the 3rd of February. So we're going to get we're going to get motivated. We're going to get the surge of energy. And it's also related to the material realm. So it's interesting because we have this spiritual aspect, but then we're balancing that with the more material, with Taurus being in Uranus and it going direct. Again, we're going to have like more of that energy to move forward, to manifest, to materialize things, projects, sign those contracts, whatever it is. Has to do with our values, our finances, and personal security. So maybe our sense of security, our sense of worth is tied into all that stuff as well. And then the solar eclipse, we're going to be entering this eclipse season. Solar eclipse in Aquarius on the 17th of February is going to be pretty powerful. And that's going to ignite this new beginning that we've been talking about. I feel like we've been talking about this new beginning and crossing this threshold for the last few months, but you know, it's not it's a slow process. I think we get used to instant gratification, right? Living in the culture that we do, and so we have to understand that everything, it takes time, and there is divine timing. You know, it's not always about when we want things to happen. There's a natural cycle and rhythm to things. But definitely, I think now, you know, we're having a slow start to the new year. We're having time to rest and to still reflect and tie up loose ends, as I was saying in the last two readings. And now, boom, like things are going to start picking up now, slowly. And definitely with the eclipse season on its way. And then being that it's in Aquarius, it's all about community. Again, as I was saying, innovation when it comes to like shifting old paradigms and the way we do things, humanitarian efforts as well. So I'm hoping, yeah, some good things come out of this Aquarius season. And we have this completion card, so something's coming to an end, you know. And then the vow card. And I had mentioned that in the last reading about things, you know, like maybe a karmic contract coming to an end, dissolving, right? Because we've learned our lessons and we moved through that and we gained whatever insights we needed from that. And then the interesting thing is that we got this card, which reminds me of the card we got for the new moon, which was also two figures. Like it was two figures like merged together and fused. But the thing was that they weren't facing each other. But then now we have these two figures facing each other, but then they're not blindfolded, but this, I don't know what it is, spirit. It looks like a nature spirit. This spirit, this entity, this malevolent entity is like, has their eyes covered. So I don't know what that means. And then even here you have two hands embraced, right? They're holding each other's hands, the vow. So a promise was made. Maybe these contracts, right? Or maybe it's not about a contract being, I hate using the word contract because it sounds so transactional. But these agreements, right? These promises, these vows. Maybe this vow that we had with this other person, or it could be maybe a group or some sort of movement we're a part of. Not that it's ending, but maybe that it has to be transformed, because look, we got transformation. So maybe there was a rupture, maybe there was like a crossroads, maybe there was like you know, some sort of issue that had to be resolved, right? It was like this conflict, or maybe this difference in beliefs, or maybe not agreeing on how you wanted to move forward together as a couple, or as a collective, you know, if you're part of some sort of collective, as friends maybe, or even maybe in a family. Maybe in a family something came up, some sort of crisis, some sort of issue that has to change, you know, some sort of within the dynamic. You know, maybe there's something about, you know, healing old wounds within the family system, you know, acknowledging things from the past, and, you know, maybe there's some forgiveness work that has to get done. But we're definitely coming to this completion. I think that's it. And then a lot of interesting things here, like a lot of repeating patterns. Like here, I was looking at this. This is an interesting card. It looks like a serpent or a snake, and it does have a head, but it almost looks like a human head, which is kind of creepy, but also kind of intriguing. But it also reminds me of the Ouroboros, like the serpent eating its own tail. And then the spiral of life, right? How everything is cyclical. And then that is repeated here in the pattern of the water. You see that? And it's in the bottom of this like vessel. But then this person's in the vessel, right? So it's like we are the vessel, like we are this mountain. I think I had mentioned that in one of my talks, how we are this mountain and we're like, really what we're doing is ascending and moving inward, like inside us, we're ascending and moving inward up to reach a higher consciousness within ourselves. And somehow this is the journey that we're on. This is like the spiraling journey that we're on, that's ascending, right? And we don't only ascend, we don't only go up, we also have to, once we reach the peak of the mountain, right? Maybe we do have some sort of enlightenment or insight that changes and transforms, right? Transforms our lives, transforms the way we see things, you know, changes our reality, changes our life in some way. And then it's about then descending back and bringing that back down to the earth, right? Bringing that down to like this leveled playing field, playing ground, where you can also share that with others. But the descent is also like within us, right? Like sometimes in order to reach this higher level of consciousness or awareness, we do have to descend, right? We have to go inward in order to feel our feelings, because this is water, right? This is like a vessel holding water. Water, again, represents emotions, you know, our emotional state, our emotional life. And it's very fluid, right? It's very fluid. And like our emotions are very fluid. They change, right? One day, because of different factors. If we get enough sleep, if we're under a lot of stress, if we got into an argument with our partner, if, you know, so many different things. And so our emotions are always kind of like very fluid. And so it's like learning how to contain that. Like, yes, feeling your feelings, because this person is not trying to escape, not trying to evade, you know, or or like numb or disassociate. They're containing it. They're feeling it, and they're letting it almost like run through them and dissipate, or even hold space for themselves. Because we talk a lot about holding space for others, but like I think one of the biggest challenges I've had, I find that easier, like holding space for other people, but holding space for myself, like that's hard thing to do, you know. I don't know, especially for recovering codependence. That's So this is beautiful. So I think this is connected to that. It's like having to travel along this journey and descend and ascend, and we do that, I think, multiple times. I don't think that once we ascend and reach this certain level that we just stay there. It's not static, you know. So and then we got consciousness, which is also like, wow, so auspicious. Like, it has to do with our consciousness. Like, maybe we weren't able to see certain things before, right? Because I was talking about it during the new moon reading, how maybe the enmeshed bodies that we saw in that one card had to do with freeing ourselves from any codependent relationships or dynamics, or any like imbalances in relationships. It was definitely relational, and here we're seeing it again, where it's this relational aspect of our lives. But then it's interesting because there's been this running theme about like this other divine presence being part of how everything's unfolding. Like, we're being guided, or we have this like guidance or assistance that we don't really see, but that is a part of how things are unfolding, you know, like fate or destiny, if you believe in that. Or again, these vows, these contracts that we came in, these were agreements that our souls made coming in to this existence and to this, you know, timeline. Let's read the vow. I'm curious to read the vow. So the vow is, it says here, the promise, the oath, the contract. You see, they even use the word contract. I don't know. I don't like the word. In its upright, or, you know, in its upright position, it means bearing witness to the shift towards destiny. So you see, there is something around destiny, something that's fated to happen, and how everything is unfolding, even if something did come to a completion or ending, because we were talking about that in the last reading, maybe a relationship coming to an end, a certain chapter of our lives coming to an end, a certain way of us, the way we've been, you know, in relationship, or the way we move in the world, a job, or maybe ended, or maybe you're going through a career change. I mean, so many different things where this, you know, this contract was like, we fulfilled that, and it was time to move on to the next lesson and the next kind of stage of our lives. So there are these like unspoken, yeah, agreements. It says here, the vow, no matter how casually, activates the eternal and unseen forces of the world. This is it, like these unseen forces of the world. You see that? This spirit, this nature spirit, this, maybe it's like our spirit guide or something. The ancestors bear witness, or maybe that is our ancestors bearing witness for us, helping us along the way. The laws of nature respond. These promises cannot be unsaid or forgotten, so breaking them can leave lingering complexities and loose ends. Didn't I say that in the last reading? We're tying up loose ends. We're making amends. We're reconciling things before we can move on to this new cycle. This card calls us to acknowledge the vow we are living by, consciously or unconsciously. A lot of our contracts are unconscious. And then when we have these crossroads, these ruptures, these you know, very crescendo times in our lives, like these moments that kind of stop us in our track, these tower moments, these shocks, these unpredictable twists of fate, you know, that kind of stop us. And like we have to be like, go inward to understand and find clarity in why this is happening, and what is it that we're learning from this, so that we can move forward, so that it can go from being unconscious to conscious, right? So that we, you know, this thing happens and it's like, oh shit, what just happened here? Why, you know, and then we can reflect and understand, like, and also acknowledge and bring it into our awareness and make it conscious, right? So we can be like, oh, okay, this conflict happened because I have a hard time setting boundaries, or I don't know how to ask for what I need, and I have an anxious attachment style, what, you know, all these different things that come to your awareness in order for you to have that information and be like, okay, now I have this information that's come to light, and now I'm aware of it and I'm conscious of it. Now what do I want to do about it, right? How can I take responsibility to shift and transform it? Transform this conflict that's coming up in my relationship. Transform this inner conflict that I'm having, struggling with, you know, I feel stuck. I feel I'm not feeling fulfilled in my career. You know, what's going on? These are all indications of like, hey, pay attention. Hey, why don't you slow down and listen to what, you know, these signals and these messages that are coming through in different forms. Firstly, internally, right? Through your own body, through your own consciousness, through your own experiencing. And then, you know, externally, maybe things happening outside of you that are kind of also bringing things to your awareness. So it says here, so the vow we are living by, consciously or unconsciously, and either recommit to it or create a ritual that signifies its closure. You've been underestimating the power of your promises. So maybe this is a nice thing. I was thinking about this too, because I had something that happened in December, right? I think from what I perceive now, it might be a relationship that's ending. And so I didn't really have closure. Unfortunately, that's not how it transpired. So I was like, how can I at least give myself closure, right? So maybe it's about doing a ritual for yourself. Maybe there was something that ended in your life, and you want to honor it, and you want to like release it with peace, with love, with understanding, forgiveness, and make peace with it. So maybe it's maybe doing a burning ceremony, right? Like to different ways. And you could be creative. Like there's no prescribed way of doing it, whatever feels right to you. Maybe it's writing a letter that you'll never send. You don't necessarily have to write the letter, but maybe it's about writing a letter to that person, or writing a letter to your past self. Like maybe you're working around a core wound that was activated from this situation, and you realize that there's some healing that you have to do around your inner child, or these previous versions of yourself and stuff like that. And so maybe it's around that, healing that, and putting, and completing that cycle of your life. The completion card. Let's read the completion card. The completion card in tarot is, I'll tell you right now, it's the World card. That makes sense. The World card. So let's see. The World card. Completion. It's like what comes around goes around. That's karma. Or the world keeps spinning, or what is that saying? I don't know what the saying is. Completion. It says, whatever has been absorbing your time and energy is now coming to an end. In completing it, you will be clearing the space for something new to begin. Use this interval to celebrate both the end of the old and the coming of the new, right? To celebrate. Maybe, yes, there's grief, there's sadness, but maybe it's also about celebrating, honoring that relationship. It wasn't probably all bad, right? And even if it really ended up being a really misaligned relationship, and there was some painful things that came up within that experience, that even then, like, being thankful. I'm not justifying any bad behavior or anything like that, but just like being grateful that you got out of it, that you were able to get enough, reach a level of awareness to know like what was best for you, and how to take care of yourself, and how to keep yourself safe, and how to, disengage with things that are misaligned energetically for you. And so maybe that's, that's something to celebrate. Or maybe again, like for instance, with the friendship that ended for me, it didn't end in a way that it would have, I felt like was a celebration. But I mean, when I look back, it was a great relationship, and I learned so much from this person, and we shared a lot of great moments. Yeah, there were conflicts, and there were things that arise just like any other relationship, but that, there were some really beautiful moments, and it was a relationship that had a lot of emotional depth compared to a lot of my other relationships. So I'm grateful that I had at least that opportunity to share love with this person, to share, intimacy, and I want to honor that as well, and maybe you could do the same. You could do the same for yourself. Let's look at some of the other cards. I'm curious about this Mountain card. If you see the Mountain card, there's someone there in the middle of, like, in this cave at the top of the mountain, which I find very interesting. And again, I feel like that's like our higher consciousness. Like that's our crown chakra or something like that. It's like reaching this peak that connects us to the divine, something like something more. And look, and we got consciousness, which is crazy. So I don't know, I almost feel like this spiraling again, it's not one dimensional. It's like this three-dimensional thing that kind of, you know, we're spiraling up the mountain to reach this higher consciousness. This is the journey that we're on. This is the spiritual evolution that we're on. So let's read the mountain. The mountain means the ascend, the peak, the insurmountable. The mountain can affect us in two ways. It can inspire and enliven us to raise to new heights and peak experiences. And yet it can also create isolation, competitiveness, and an inflated sense of self. Oh, that's interesting. I guess that's the shadow aspect of it, right? To be careful not to get caught up in your ego as you maybe you do ascend and you reach this level of consciousness, or you get these insights, and then it's like, are you going to use it to control others? Are you going to abuse your power, you know, like your wisdom and things like that? So because you can, it's a level of like, again, it's like, what are your intentions? What do you intend to do with the knowledge that you've gained, the wisdom that you gained, whatever it is, the power, right? The empowerment that you gained, because that empowerment can then maybe go up into your head, as they say, right? It goes up to your head, and then you're like, in this illusionary state of thinking that somehow you're better than others, or superior than others, or know better, you know, that you know better, or something like that. And it's like also a forewarning of that if you do reach this level of consciousness or awareness, you know, that to use it for good, and to remain maybe also like humble. I think that's why you can't always just stay up in that peak, right? You can't stay in that ascension. It eventually, you know, what comes up has to come down. So it's a matter of also coming down and bringing and sharing this with others, and maybe like contributing in a positive way for the betterment of the collective. And it doesn't have to be in this grand scale. It's just a matter of just like, you know, maybe it's just within your own family, you know, within your own community or something like that, or within your own intimate relationships, your friendships, you know. I say, you know, a lot. Oh my God. So it's okay. So let's see. What else? The shadow aspect of the mountain: isolating, frigid, daunting, ominous. Okay. If you think it's all about going up, you're following the fool's path and missing the miner's magic. Remember that it is within the core of the mountain that the gems, minerals, and jewels reside. We have to go within. So it's not about reaching this like higher point. It's also about descending and going deep. This is a matter of depth as well. And this is what this card represents, I feel. Right? This vessel, this container that's holding this beautiful water. That is us, right? It's like we're this container that holds all this beauty, these beautiful ideas and emotions and thoughts and experiences and stories, and you know, and it's there's something about that, like, but then you know, it's something about sharing that, you know, because look, the water's overflowing out of the vessel, so it's like it's overflowing. We're overflowing. We're expanding, and it's reaching others, and it's reaching places that it needs to go. And even with this, I feel like it's very like expansive too, the image. It's not really solid. It's not like this solid thing. It's more of this spaciousness, this expansiveness, this way of being, this way of moving. And even this, also, I was thinking of this, that this, I was saying this looks like a serpent. And then we have the serpent here in the warrior card. I'm trying to see, there's a serpent here. He's holding a serpent in his hand, or it, or she, or they. There's two serpents. I'm looking to see, there's birds here. There's a bird here and a bird here. This is a phoenix. That represents death and resurrection. Which I almost feel like this skull represents death, rebirth, resurrection. I don't know. I'm not trying to understand this hands that came covering their face. It's like maybe something we didn't see before is gonna maybe be revealed. Something's gonna happen, something, or maybe this is someone we're gonna meet that we haven't met yet, and that's why like we can't see each other yet. We haven't seen each other, or it hasn't, something that hasn't been revealed yet, but it's gonna be revealed soon, because they're facing each other. So it's almost like this encounter, this coming together, this meeting. And again, it could be in an existing relationship or an existing situation where maybe it's not new. Maybe it's like an existing relationship where you see each other differently now. Like something shifts and changes your perspective of a situation, of a person. Like something shifts energetically in the dynamic, and all of a sudden, you know, you go through this. Maybe you renew your vows, right? You deepen your vows. The bond gets stronger, you know, because you were able to complete that cycle that you went through and learn the lessons together in order to come to this other level of your ascension, but together, you know, and become more conscious about certain things, certain issues, certain patterns that were preventing you from evolving and growing. And then it's like you're going deeper into the relationship, deeper within yourself, into your bond, and, you know, getting clear on your values, on how getting clear on, you know, what direction you want to take moving forward. Let's read the warrior card. And there's definitely this transformation. And the transformation card in tarot is the Fool card. I was talking about how the Fool card is definitely an overarching theme for the whole year, 2026. I mentioned the Fool card, the Magician, and the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune connects to completion and to the World card. It's very similar because it's about, like, again, the cyclical nature of life and how we evolve spiritually. And so interesting, the Fool card. Again, new beginnings. It's about having faith. Maybe our faith, our hope is deepening. It's being strengthened. Our resiliency. We're taking intentional risks on ourselves, being bold, starting these new projects, making these radical changes and transformations in our lives. Let's read the Warrior card. Perfect song for the Warrior card. It says here the Advocate, the Samurai, the Soldier. I don't know how I feel about the Soldier, but I get that. I guess that's what a warrior is, right? You have to defend, protect. Upright, it means fierce clarity, purposeful action, resolve, and resilience. I was just talking about that. Resilience. Purposeful, intentional action, yeah. And having clarity of which direction to go. So there you go. This is the Warrior card. The Warrior's work requires presence, alignment, purpose. We're getting aligned. I've been saying that, folks. We're getting aligned. We're getting aligned to the right people. We're getting aligned to the right contracts. We're renewing contracts with different terms, with different values, with different, mission statements or something. We're renewing our vows with our loved one. We are aligning to our purpose, our true purpose, maybe as we get to know, start living more authentically, as we discover new gifts and talents, we're realigning our purpose. It says here, if and when the warrior loses its center, meaningless confrontations and violence are their default response. So I guess that's the shadow aspect, right? Right? What does a warrior soldier do, right? They're in war, they're in conflict. They might cause harm, there's violence. So it's about staying centered, like channeling that fiery energy, that maybe there's anger that came up within this experience, maybe frustration, some sort of fiery energy that came up that is there to ignite us, not to cause harm, not to cause ourselves harm or anyone else harm, but to ignite this motivation within us in order to invoke this transformation for us. When this card appears, it is important to question the battle at hand. It is likely a great one. So this is a significant again, this important pinnacle point that we are in our lives. It is deeply rooted. It has deep roots and long-lasting tensions. The actions you take will stay with you long after the dust settles. So choose wisely, brave one. As you draw your sword, realign with the eternal wisdom within. You see, it's like something about making sure that the actions and the decisions that we take now are aligned for the longer term, right? We have to think about the long-term consequences or ramifications of whatever we decide to do now, right? Whatever we decide to do, whatever vow we decide to end or complete or renew, or whatever new contract, right? Whatever new relationships, situations we get into, careers, collaborations. We have to be really clear on the long-term goals that we have, and do they align with our values? Do they align with our goals and where we're going and who we're becoming? Then surrender the battle. So yeah, maybe there's an inner conflict. Maybe this is about something within us. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe this is within us, and we're kind of meeting ourselves, right? We're having to contend with this inner conflict of this old person we were, these old values we had, and this new person we're trying to become, and we're trying to align ourselves to this new way of being and living. And then maybe we make a vow to ourselves, I'm going to keep my promise to myself. I'm going to take better care of myself. I'm going to set better boundaries. I'm not happy at the job that I'm in. I'm going to start looking for something that aligns with my passions. I'm going to start sending out my resume, again, taking inspired action, taking yourself seriously, taking your life and your future seriously, and taking responsibility for this evolutional journey that you're on. Let's take a few more cards. I wanted to take some cards out from I usually do a write-up, like I sit, I meditate on the cards, and this time I'm trying to be a little bit more spontaneous and a little bit in the moment. And I think I explained this well, but then you also know that you're welcome to come in and use your own intuition. Like look at the images and look and see what it's telling you, This is a collaborative experience and practice. Let's see what else we have here. Ray of light. Ray of light. Let's see from the... This is from the Mother Peace deck. And then this is from, what is it called? The Untamed Elemental deck. Let's see. Wow, the Sun card. Holy shit. The Sun card and Ray of Light. Come on. You can't even make this shit up, dudettes. Ray of Light. Let's see where this Ray of Light is. I think that is fire. That's David Bowie. Oh no, it's not fire. Interesting. So maybe it is ether. Man, Starman. I can't find Ray of Light. This is weird. Let's get back to, I'll come back to Ray of Light. Just don't want to waste time. Let's go to the Sun card. Here we go. The Sun card. Upright. It says the sun is reborn after the journey or transformation of the moon. There is happiness and understanding. Everyone knows why they are here, and there is delight in this realization. So everyone knows that why they're here. So maybe again, it's about these relational experiences and like getting clear on each other's role and where each other stands and how you both contribute into the harmony of the relationship. Or maybe it's a collaborative, again, this collective that you're part of, and understanding, getting clear on your mission statement and getting clear on everyone's contribution and what everyone's responsible for, or, and valuing that. It's like valuing the realization of what makes everyone a valuable part of this partnership or this of this collective. Because if you see the card, everyone's like, right, it looks like a celebration. Everyone's together, everyone's in harmony and unison. It almost reminds me of like cheerleaders and gymnastics. And like in order to do a lot of these routines, and like you have to be synchronized, right? You have to be in some sort of harmony and work together in unison to do that. And then you also have all these animals. So there's this thing about harmony. The balloons mean celebration of some sort, right? You're celebrating. The sun is out. Everyone's like hanging out together and celebrating. And it's also like celebrating each other and celebrating, one another. It says here, life makes sense and there's purpose and pleasure in expressing uniqueness. You see, everyone, it's like, thank you for being in my life, and I value what you bring into my life, or that, I see everyone's contribution within this big project that we're working on together. It wouldn't be the same without you. It's like something about valuing and reciprocity, this give and take, this balancing, this harmony, this working together for a common cause, a common goal. Because even in a partnership, when it's just, two people, coming together to help each other. So there are going to be misunderstandings. There are going to be conflicts. You are going to be activated. There are going to be things to confront within yourself and within the relationship. And you're going to have to be willing to do the work, to show up, to you know, hold space for each other, to work through those challenging moments, and to celebrate each other, you know, to forgive, maybe, to be like, you know, it's okay. I see you, and I forgive you if mistakes were made, or if feelings were hurt, or boundaries were crossed, and being able to repair, right? To repair the rupture, because that's what creates intimacy. That's what creates closeness and trust, and strengthens the bond. Kendrick Lamar. Ray of Light. Let's see. I'm going to end with Ray of Light. Let me see if I can find this card. Ray of Light. It's so weird. I can't find it. I found it. It's air. Interesting. I thought it would be fall under fire, or okay, anyway. So this means focus, which I could see now in the card. You see an eye, and it's like it's focusing its vision, it's focusing its energy. It says here, balanced. When this energy of the Ray of Light is balanced, it's able to visualize positive outcomes and bring them into form. That's what we've been talking about, right? Doing things intentionally, consciously, creating, you know, lasting transformation, sustainable transformation, going within. You know, this change is happening from within. That's how it's going to be sustainable. And then that's going to be expanded and extended out into this more collective energy. It says here, the Ray of Light reminds you that where where your attention goes, energy flows. Your consciousness, here we go again, consciousness is a light ray, imbuing life-giving nourishment to everything it highlights. This reminds me of this card, right? Your consciousness is a light ray, imbuing life-giving nourishment to everything it highlights. Look at that. That's what everyone in this card is doing. That's what the sun is doing. That's what these beautiful animals are doing. They're imbuing their light, their beautiful life force. What you emphasize with your awareness can either enhance or deplete your quality of life. Remember that. What we put attention to, right? What we put attention to. The vow, right? Keeping our promises to ourselves, keeping our promises to each other. Honoring contracts, honoring, you know, if we're working on a collaborative project, you know, like not dropping the ball, and, you know, being accountable for our part of that project, and making sure we do the work, and that we show up for others, and that we are able to, you know, keep our commitments and honor our commitments. It says here, and also, you know, being aware of what you're putting your attention to. What are you putting your attention to? Ask Ray of Light to help you focus on your vision for the future rather than your fears. See your dreams coming into form. Imagine the taste, the smells, the colors coalescing into a world where you want to live. Ray of Light loves to amplify convictions of beauty. So yeah, this is about like focusing. We're finally letting go of the past. We're, again, creating these rituals, these beautiful ceremonies to celebrate and honor the past, and to release it with peace, with love, with understanding, so that we can move forward to create this bright future for ourselves, to align ourselves to now this new clear purpose, or maybe this new aligned, you know, updated, revised, reconciled contract that you had with this person, within this relationship, with a career, a job, within a community, within a collective. or even with yourself, you know, within your own life. Like maybe it's about creating promises for yourself about living a healthier lifestyle, taking better care of your health, maybe, you know, financially, like becoming financially literate and you know, budgeting and investing your money and trying to be more aware of your financial life, educating yourself around that, you know, empowering yourself around that. Again, it's something around a vow that you're making to yourself or to someone else or to a greater cause or mission. And then it's, again, like we're doing the work. We're taking the steps to gain the wisdom, the knowledge, the skills that we need, and then bringing them down to share with others. And that's going to transform us, and that's going to align us, and then we're going to be able to be these sovereign beings. And so when we're doing relationships and we're doing going through these relational experiences, whether personal or professional, we're able to show up with integrity, you know, with this kind of warrior spirit ready to not fight, but to, you know, to show up and to fight for what's right and for, you know, some high ideals maybe, you know, and like these renewed vows, these renewed beliefs and values that we have, but that align with who we really are, that align with our true like essence. And like this also is like inner alignment, like aligning our mind, our hearts, our soul. So it's like integration. This looks like integration to me too. It's very healing image. So it's almost like if you see the progression of this, and then I'm going to end, it's like we're having to go inward, because maybe that's what this means too. Like, right? When we close our eyes, or if our eyes are blindfolded or covered, we have no real option than to move inward, right? To go inward. And so this is almost like a symbolizing that inner journey, having to go in and reconcile these things within us and integrate the lessons and these experiences that we're having in order to then become this beautiful container, this whole integrated container of wisdom, of, you know, compassion, of love, of light, this being of light, you know, this warrior of light, We are all we're all becoming these warriors of light that we need right now in this world with all this turmoil. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. Let's be warriors of light. Let's rise to the occasion. Let's, you know, let's show up for ourselves. Let's show up for others. Let's show up for what we believe in. Much love.